Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into TradeChat. My name is Panzer, and today is another vlog, another day, another vlog. I got some stuff I want to talk about. I have these things that I need to open from a P.O. box, but before I do that, I want to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, Full Sail University. I know there's a bunch of you guys out there that would love to turn your passion for gaming into an actual career, but it's really hard to get started. Full Sail University offers a wide variety of gaming degree programs, and you can complete them either on campus or online, whichever works better for you. Full Sail University will teach you the tools, technology, and workflow needed for today's studios, and they'll help prepare you for your future in the gaming industry. Whether you're interested in art or coding or mobile game development, whatever it is, there is a Full Sail gaming degree out there for you. Full Sail grads have gone on to work on titles like Madden, Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, just to name a few. If you would like to learn more, there'll be a link in the info below, and thank you again to Full Sail University for sponsoring today's video. Alrighty, now that we got all those formalities out of the way, let me tell you about the day I had. So I'm filming this on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and when I went to St. Jude the second year, they scheduled a tour for us at the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, and I remember not wanting to go because it seemed like it was going to be kind of like, I don't know, boring and lecture-y, and I don't know, I just didn't have good feelings going into it, and it ended up being like amazing, and I loved it, and I would recommend if you are in Memphis, please go to the Civil Rights Museum. It's an amazing experience. It's very eye-opening, and I posted about it on my Facebook this morning. And I was absolutely, and you know, I shouldn't be baffled, and this isn't a political conversation at all. For the record, I don't think that wanting every single person in America who is a citizen to have equal rights is, I don't think that's far-fetched, but we're not there yet. Now, we're certainly better than where we were at one point, but we're not at the point yet where people are not facing actual racism, and that's really sad to me. And I posted this whole big long thing about my experience at the Civil Rights Museum and, you know, my inspirations that I've drawn from Martin Luther King Jr., and I was absolutely baffled at the people that were so excited to line up and use Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a reason to spout off their like political beliefs and their platform, but not even for like civil rights. I mean, people that were like, oh, well, this activist movement should learn some things from Martin Luther King Jr. and, oh, our president could learn some things. Like, I don't think there's ever an appropriate time to like, when somebody is commending someone and praising someone, that you need to diminish that by talking negatively about something else. And it's not even about whether you're right or wrong in that comparison. It's about the fact that the comparison doesn't need to be made. We're supposed to be looking at today and seeing, you know, the progress that we've made while also acknowledging the things that still could be changed and could be improved upon. And instead, people are kind of using it as, it's kind of the same thing as when like a horrible like shooting tragedy happens. It's always turns into like a gun debate in the comments. Like, can we just stop and look at the situation the way it is right now? And instead of arguing on our political platforms, like actually come together and recognize that something bad or something good or whatever it is happened, instead of constantly needing it to be about us and our thoughts and our opinions. And I know this is kind of all very bizarre coming from somebody who's talking on a YouTube video by themselves, like, oh, who cares about your thoughts and opinions? But I'm not really, I don't know. I guess it is kind of hypocritical. I don't mean it in that way though. It's just I've seen in the comments before, like, oh, Panzer, I really like your views on video games. I like your video game videos, but I really don't like it when you talk about politics because I don't agree with you. And what's bizarre to me about that is that I feel like not many people actually understand where my political beliefs lie. I'm not radical on either side. I would consider myself to be a very middle of the pack. Like, I'm certainly not, let's go take everyone's guns away, and I'm certainly not, we should all have guns. Like, I'm very much in the middle of most issues, and I think it's the part of me that just wants to compromise. I don't want to win. I don't want to have my personal way, because it's not about me as one individual person in this country. I mean, anytime that you're talking about political beliefs, you have to think of it as a big picture. And if you're saying, well, I believe this, then you probably need to step down, because it doesn't matter what you personally believe. And I think that all of my political views really stem from what's the kindest, most compassionate thing that you could do in said situation. And I feel like I pride myself on somebody who is willing to have conversations with people about their beliefs, even if they're not the same as mine, but not on Twitter or Facebook or any platform like that, because it's not helpful. I feel like when you get into these social media situations, everybody's kind of in their own bubble, and they're just kind of like feeding off of people that have the same ideas as them, and then like rejecting people that don't have the same ideas as them, and there's no middle of the road at all. It's just this person versus that person, and I don't want to participate in that type of debate. It's not healthy. It's not productive. It just makes people angry. And don't get me wrong, I'm very guilty of talking about things that maybe are taboo and I shouldn't on a social media platform. But then in the same sense, it's more of, in my opinion, that if you, I'm going to use myself as an example in this situation, but if you choose to follow me on social media, you've decided that you would like to see what I have to say, or you want to see what I post, or whatever it is. And if you don't like it, you can unfollow me. I've never understood the concept of like, I'm going to follow an actor or a comedian or a musician or a YouTuber or whatever it is, and then they post something political and people want to like debate about it on Twitter. Like, you chose to follow them. They did not choose to have you tweet them directly about it. It's not really just about me. It's anybody in this situation. And there's lots of places where, you know, actual conversations can be had. And, you know, for a long time, one of my best friends in the world was like a very conservative Republican, very, like, our views were not aligned, and we could talk for hours. And I feel like there were a lot of times where I said, you know, you make a really good point. Like, one of the points he used to bring up a lot is that, you know, you see when people talk a lot about race relations and voter inequality. I don't know if you can hear my cat meowing. She's meowing her face off. Stop meowing. What are you meowing about? Hi, come here. Hi, what are you meowing about? But he would talk about like how, you know, people would talk about like voting inequality. And again, this is not me saying that it does or does not exist. I'm not giving my opinion on this, but he talked a lot about districtizing and how it was a bigger problem that people didn't really know existed. Basically saying that, you know, they would split up these districts so that you would have more people that were in poverty in one district, more wealthy people in another district, and then the politicians kind of only need to pander to the people that are in that middle gap, because statistically speaking, the wealthier people will, you know, always kind of favor conservative, and the more, the people who are, you know, facing harder times are going to lean liberal. And I'm just talking from a statistical standpoint. It's not stereotyping. There are obviously outliers on both sides. But just as a rule of thumb, politicians don't. New York City is a perfect example. Nobody really needed to worry. Like, as somebody who lives in New York, when you live in New York, it doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't. We are a strictly Democratic state. It doesn't matter. New York City is so huge, and it is such a concentrated amount of Democrats that it doesn't matter how you vote, because it's always going to be Democrat. And I know that's a kind of toxic viewpoint to have on it, but it's also, at this point in time, realistic. So when we say that as voters, the politicians know that as well. So if you have districts set up in a way that, you know, you're kind of a guarantee to vote here, guarantee to vote there, everywhere should kind of be a swing state or a swing place always. Like, everybody should always be the politician's number one concern, which, I mean, that's a whole issue in politics in and of itself, is that politicians are kind of out for power, and, you know, the very type of person that wants to be a politician is generally not the type of person you'd want to be in power. But I don't know. It's really weird to me how people forget that we're all on the same team. And, like, I'm guilty of it as well. Like, let me just step back and say I'm not trying to say this is everybody else's problem, not my own. Because I've heard myself say, like, oh, like, so-and-so act like this and that. And that's not fair. Like, lots of people who voted for whoever, they voted for that person because they thought they were the lesser of two evils. They didn't vote for them because they strongly stand by their beliefs, whether they were voting Democrat or Republican in this election. I don't think there were a lot of people who truly aligned with either candidate. They just felt like they were picking the better of the two. And we're seeing all this backlash right now from, you know, Donald Trump's cabinet announcements and Donald Trump, and everybody's like freaking out about it. Myself included. I'm guilty of this. I'm just saying, after today's experience with the Martin Luther King Jr. post, I have decided to, like, step back and really try to be more understanding of other people's views and try to, like, see a common ground, because there's just absolutely no way that we are ever going to solve anything if everybody is just calling each other names. You're just calling each other libtards and racists and this and that. Like, never going to solve anything. Like, I'm not going to listen to you if you're going to call me a name. And you're not going to listen to me if I call you a name. Like, that's not how you inspire people. And that's not how you start a compromise and start a conversation. That's how you make enemies. And there should never be a point in our country where our political parties are enemies. Like, I would love to see a world where we had, a Republican president, but their VP was Democratic. Like, how crazy would that be if you actually had more than one viewpoint represented? Or like, honestly, why is there ever anybody who leans heavily to one? Wouldn't it be great if there was like a moderate who kind of wanted to compromise and wanted to meet in the middle? And I understand that this is a very pipe dream of me, but I don't want to win if it means that half of the country is unhappy. That's very sad. Like, that's not a good state to be in, and we should feel more. And it's not really about like, oh, America's the best or anything, because I don't think that. We're all people. We all bleed if you cut us. We all breathe air. We all look up into the sky and see the same stars at night, and we need to stop vilifying each other and making enemies and building walls instead of connections. That wasn't even supposed to be a play on the wall. I'm sorry, I literally was just talking about divisions. Anyways, I'm just saying, I feel like the world in general, America, would be a better place if everybody was more focused on the big picture and what would be better for absolutely everybody and not just themselves. And I know that a lot of people's political views align with, let the states decide, because then they feel like, you have more freedom to move around and to make decisions for yourself. But I also think that I think that that's the type of mindset that comes from a certain place of privilege, because I've been in a position in my life where I couldn't even pay all my bills. I've been in a position in my life where I've worried about my car getting repossessed or how I was going to pay the rent. And to tell someone, well, you could just move to another state, it costs a lot of money to move. It costs, you're talking about first and last month's rent, a security deposit, a moving truck, gas, food. You might need a hotel. Yeah, and that's if you have a job lined up wherever you're going. You can't, like, that to say, like, oh, just move if you don't like it, isn't really realistic at all, even between states. Don't even get me started on people who said they were going to move to Canada. But I just feel like right now the world needs to focus more on what our joint goals are, because I understand there are definitely goals that do not match up with each other's, right? Like, I feel like everybody at the end of the day wants the same thing. We all want peace. Whatever peace means to you might be different than what it means to me, but I feel like nobody wants war. I mean, people say, oh, for money and power, but truly, at the core of whatever it is, I don't think anybody truly wants like violence and suffering and all the horrors that come with it. And if everybody's goal is truly to come to a place where we are able to at least peacefully coexist, I'm not saying that you have to be best friends with everybody, but I feel like we're at a point in our country right now where people on both sides are just so angry that like they're not even willing to see the flaws on their own sides. They're not willing to consider that maybe their mindset isn't the best mindset. And I'm saying that coming from someone who's in the past been very stubborn about my views. I mean, I've tried, in the past couple of years especially, I've tried a lot harder. But I also have a really hard time when people are just like, I can't speak. I've never lived in the South. I've never lived in the South. I've only visited the South a few times. I have no idea if the South has a, air quotes, problem with illegal immigrants. I don't know, because that's not a problem in New York. There's nobody's coming from Ontario to jump the border into New York. Like, that's just not what we deal with in the North. So I think it's really easy as someone who lives in New York to say, like, how could you even talk about building a wall? That's a ridiculous. And yeah, like, yes, financially, I get it, right? Like, but also we all need to recognize that when you're coming from your own viewpoint, that's not everybody's viewpoint. And, I'm sure there are people that feel as though they've lost jobs or whatever. But in the same sense, I look at that from a place of compassion and think to myself, if you are willing to sneak into a country where there are armed guards on the border and like you're literally like risking your life to come here, how bad is it where you are? Like if you're willing to come here and work under the table for a freaking $1 an hour and you got 14 people living in one apartment and it's And I just can't imagine how terrible that is. And I understand that, no country can sustain the entire world. You can't just open your doors and let absolutely anyone come in, because that's just not, there's only a certain amount of space, there's only a certain amount of jobs, and I get that. But in the same sense, as somebody who does feel very strongly that, human life is important and precious, and it doesn't matter what color your skin is or what God you pray to or don't pray to, and none of that matters, like, I just can't shake the feeling of, if you're willing to take all those risks and come to a place where people may hate you and may want you to leave and want to build a wall, and like, how terrible are things where you came from that you're willing to go through all of those obstacles to live here because it's better. Like, that's the part that I can't get over. And what I think that we need to do is figure out what we can do to help. And I'm not saying send money or send food. I understand, like, we have our own issues with homelessness and with, people living in poverty and the wealth gap. I'm not saying that we need to just start airdropping supplies to Mexico. That's ridiculous. But I am saying that the solution is probably a lot more complex than deport them and build a wall, because, I think a lot of it has to do with the war on drugs, which I don't think there's a lot of statistics that can back up that that's been a successful program over the years. And, if they were to, like, some states have legalized marijuana, like, if that was legalized everywhere, like, I'm pretty sure that's like the number one imported drug. And that's not a statistic, but like, how would legalizing and regulating and taxing something like that have an effect on, people trying to get out of their country and sneaking into our country, and, things getting passed over the borders? Like, if you're actually worried about criminals and not people that just want to come here and work and, eventually become a citizen, then, like, you have to look at the crimes that are being committed, and that's where you need to pay attention. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I just feel like any solution needs to be from a place of love and compassion and not intolerance, because I don't think we'll accomplish anything. I don't think it matters. Even if we do it anyone's way, like, any one way that involves, infuriating. I mean, you're never going to make anybody happy, but if half the country does not agree with what you're doing, that's 1 out of 2 people. That's nuts to me. And I don't know. I just want to see people grow up and succeed and be happy and be comfortable. And I just don't know how, like, for God's sakes, I go to therapy every week. Well, I go like every other week, but I see a therapist, and I feel like half of what I talk to her about is like politics, and like, it's not like, oh, how could they have done this? Because I get it. I get that, like, you're raised with certain values. I get that you're exposed to certain things, that your experiences shape who you are, but there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way, and I think that we all need to take responsibility for being that change and being that person who's willing to listen, even if you don't agree. I mean, there's a way, and again, I am guilty of this. Let me not be like a do as I say, not as I do. These are also things that I am personally working on, and I've made mistakes, and I would like to not make more, but we need to all do a better job of listening to each other and having productive conversations that don't involve name calling and accusations. Like, it's like I said, the moment you call one side racist or one side stupid or one side this or one side that, like, you've just, it's not fair. Like, there's no way that you can think that 1 out of 2 people in this country hate. And I know there's going to be people that are going to talk about the voting numbers. It's irrelevant. Like, that's not really the point. It's really sad. The whole situation that we're in right now is a lot of people that are just arguing, and family members arguing with each other over something that we don't have a lot of control over. So at this point, does it really matter? Does it really matter if your guy won or lost? Because, like, it doesn't change anything. And, like, I've seen a bunch of petitions going on Facebook, like, impeach Trump, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that doesn't change his entire cabinet. And the president is only one person. And if we saw, I don't know how old you guys are. And I have been voting for about 10 years. So I've seen in my adult life, I've voted for 2 different presidents. One was for 8 years, and the most recent one, which has not come into office yet. And this is a little known fact. I was a registered Republican until this October. I know. A lot of people have always thought I was a very extremely liberal person, but that's because I think a lot of times super liberal views are coupled with being accepting, which I think is a good thing, but I don't think it's out of the opinion. I don't know why it's out of the question that you can be someone who is accepting and open to ideas and wanting everyone to have an equal shot at life. You know, I'm not saying everybody should have the same things. That is communism, and that doesn't work out well in most situations. But, you know, everyone from the get-go should not get, like, a good example is Nick worked with a woman for a while, and her name was, hold on, I gotta think about it. La Crystal. Her name was La Crystal. And she was like French, like French woman. And she would put on her resume LC with her last name, because when she had La Crystal, she didn't get callbacks. And that's a pretty phenomenal example of like very low-key racism. Like people assumed that she was black and didn't call her back. And I know that's anecdotal, that's one example, but that's the point where I feel like it shouldn't matter what your name is or what you know, what your skin color is, what religion you are. It just doesn't matter. Like everybody should have an equal shot. And if you feel like that is harmful to you, then I think you need to kind of examine yourself and why you feel that way, because I understand like everybody in life is going to have different advantages over other people, but your skin tone shouldn't be an advantage. The God that you choose to pray to or not pray to should not be an advantage. You know, your accent, stuff like that. Those are things that you are, it's just kind of part of you. And that, like, obviously, you know, the way you present yourself, like I would, if I walked into a job interview like this, I would not expect to get any job. I mean, unless I was applying at like a nerdy truck stop, I don't know. But like from an actual core of a resume or something, like you should always be judged on, you know, your accolades and your achievements and your history and your accomplishments, not your name sounding ethnic. That's just shitty. And I don't think that's a radical thought. I don't. And I refuse to believe it's a radical thought. And I know there will be comments that are not nice. And I hope that it's not like that. I hope that, you know, a lot of people can understand where I'm coming from when I say this. And it's from a very place of wanting peace. It's not, I don't want to upset anybody. Like that's the core of all of my values in life, is that I want as many people to be happy with the decisions as possible that are made in the world, you know? And and that if that means that those aren't the things that I necessarily align with on a political standpoint, I'm okay with that. As long as, you know, 75%, 3 out of 4 people are like, yeah, that's the right thing to do. Like I can suck it up and be like, okay, well, if that makes 75% of people happy, I mean, obviously, unless that thing is bigotry. I mean, I hope that you're getting what I'm saying and not, I've gone off onto a rabbit hole here, but yeah, so those are my thoughts. I just feel like we all need to listen more and try to learn more and try to, you know, examine our own flaws and the things that we might be being stubborn about and try to figure out a common ground, because that's the only way we're really gonna move forward. On another topic, I had this really deep rabbit hole thought. Speaking of rabbit holes, as you can probably tell, I go down these a lot. I am famous for like, you know, I'll be reading something online, which clicks me to another article, to another article, to another article, to another article. I'm on the weird side of the internet and I'm thinking about things that are bizarre. It's just my life. It's very ADHD of me. But I saw a bunch of people the other day talking about like, you know, and this is something that comes up with gun control a lot too, like, oh, mental health in America, it's a problem, blah, 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 blah. And you know what the biggest problem about mental health in America is, truthfully, is our portrayal and acceptance of how it is. You know, I talk about how I go to a therapist and I try to be open about it. And that was really hard for me. It took me a year to build up the courage to talk to a therapist. And I called the therapist and I was very nervous talking to her. I was talking fast. I was kind of rambling because I was scared. I was nervous. This was a big life thing for me. And, you know, I was calling somebody who specialized in grief because I was really struggling with my dad. And she like interrupted me to tell me that I really needed to take a deep breath. And I kind of like giggled it off and kept talking. And she's like, no, stop and take a deep breath and count to 5 and really think about it and then get back to me. And I was like offended. I felt like I had been yelled at like a child. I felt like being nervous in that situation is a pretty normal reaction, and that when somebody appears to be nervous, like making them feel like talking or rambling is wrong is really harmful. And, you know, she was older than me, so I was very like, I have no idea how to stand up to people that are older than me. I'm very bad with people that could be my parents' age. Like, you are an authority figure, I respect you. And so I still made an appointment with her, even after that weird interaction left me very uncomfortable. And my sleep schedule was really bad. I mean, my sleep schedule is often bad, but it was worse than usual. Like going to bed at 9 a.m, like really bad. And so the day I was supposed to see her, I hadn't been able to sleep because I was so nervous about going to see her. And then I was like all freaked out about going and seeing this woman on no sleep. So I called her and left a message and said, you know, something came up. I need to reschedule. Please call me back to reschedule. And she never called me back. And I know it was like her number, because, you know, you call a therapist's office and they're like, if it's a medical emergency, please call 911. Otherwise, you know, blah, blah, blah. So like, I know it was her. I know the message was left, and she just never called me back. So first she like patronized me, made me feel bad about myself, made me feel bad about my reactions, and then like just ignored me and blew me off. And like, I was not super depressed. I mean, granted, like I never want to stack this up as like, oh, woe is me, I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I mean, I was a functioning person, but just barely. I mean, I was not doing well at all. It was right around the anniversary of, like, the year anniversary of my dad's death. And so it took me another, like, 6 months. No, it was like almost a whole nother year, actually, now that I think about it, because that was in April, and I didn't see my therapist until like September, so it was over a year. Okay, so it was like over a year before I built up the courage again, because I was like, no, I still really feel like I need a therapist. I need to talk to someone, and found the therapist I have now. And I went into this as somebody who had never, I went to counseling a couple times when I was young, but I was very young, and it was like court ordered because of like custody with my parents, and it was messy, and I feel like I repressed a lot of those memories. So I don't really have a whole lot of recollection of what happened there. But, you know, when I went in, I was expecting like one of those weird, what are they called? The lounging couch chair things, you know what I'm talking about? I was expecting to be laying in one of those while somebody was like on a clipboard and wanting to prescribe me medication. That's what my mind had decided therapy was like. And the reason I felt that is because that's how it is portrayed on TV. Every TV show you see where people are going and seeing a psychiatrist or a therapist, they are like cold and doctory, and everybody in those situations is treated as though they are crazy or they have a problem, and it is stigmatized in the way that it is even just portrayed on television. I'm going to come back to this in a second, but you know, when I went and saw my therapist, it was such a comfortable environment. They were like, she's an art therapist, so I'm sure it was a little different than usual, but I don't really do art when I'm there. I just talk to her, and, you know, we sit on the couch. Well, I sit on the couch sometimes. There's a table and chairs. I mean, I can sit wherever I want. You know, she's got a chair, I have a chair, there's couch, there's all sorts of places you can sit and things you can do, and we drink tea and we just talk, and it's very cathartic because you just kind of talk and you're not responsible for having a conversation. You're just kind of talking and they're giving their input and then you're continuing. It's not like, oh, how was your day? My day was great. You're not having that back and forth. It's very one-sided, just with someone that kind of keeps you on track. And if there's something that sort of sticks out to them as, you know, maybe important, they'll have you go back and reflect on that again and stuff like that. But it's so chill. And, you know, I went into it being terrified to the point of it took me, you know, clearly almost 2 years to see a therapist. And I think one of the biggest issues in America is that people think you need to have a serious issue to go to see a therapist or a counselor or whatever, like, and people are afraid that if they go to one of these places, it's going to be marked on their medical record and they're going to be deemed as crazy and they're going to be on medication and they won't be able to get a gun. And like, that's not how it is at all. I mean, I'm sure there are situations where you're in, you know, a clinic and it is a psychiatrist who is doing things because people are severely mentally ill. And honestly, there's not even anything wrong with that. I mean, those doctors are there for a certain place in time, but I feel like at 28 years old, I had no idea that that was what therapy was going to be like. And I consider myself to be a moderately cultured person. Like, I know people who have been to therapy and stuff, and I I guess you never really ask. And then the way it is portrayed on television and in movies, the character that is seeing a therapist is always like having some sort of like crazy emotional breakdown, or they're literally like clinically not okay. They have schizophrenia, they have bipolar, they have severe depression, they're going to kill themselves. There's all these horrible, horrible things attached with going to a therapist, when the truth is a lot of people just go to a therapist because they want to talk, and that's just it. You just want to talk, and you want to get your thoughts out, and you want to get it out and put it on the table and see, you know, what needs to be sorted out and what needs to be filed away for another time and what needs to be worked on right now. But it's not necessarily a thing where, you know, you're going to go in and say you're sad and they're going to commit you. I mean, that's how I feel like so many people feel like therapy is, and how many people would be just better off, whether, you know, I'm not saying there are obviously people who need to take medication, and there's nothing wrong with that. I take medication for my ADHD. There's not anything wrong with that. But I think there's a real fear that people don't want to go do this because they're afraid they're going to end up getting committed or put on medication, or people will think they're crazy. And it's not like that at all. And if we truly in this country wanted to destigmatize mental health, and we wanted to like take control of that, we need celebrities like Carrie Fisher, who was so open about her bipolar and the different things she did to treat it, and the struggles of living with it, and, you know, why she had addiction problems. And even then there are people who will still like talk crap about her. And until we come to a place in society where it is not like, oh, you're so brave for talking about it. You shouldn't be brave for talking about going to therapy. It's the same thing as going to a freaking doctor. If you're sick, you go to a doctor just to get checkups. You know what I mean? You go to the dentist to get cleanings. I think of it as like a brain cleaning. That's what therapy is. It's like getting your brain cleaned. So I don't know. I just had this big long thought the other day about how if we actually wanted to like take control of mental health in this country, and we wanted to like, you know, make actual changes that would result in people getting the help they needed or preventing things in the get-go, we would need to start with, you know, more counselors in schools so that kids had somebody to talk to right when they're in school that's separate from their parents, because you don't know if there's issues going on at home. And we would need more celebrities to be open about their therapists, and we would need more shows to accurately portray you know, kind and compassionate and helpful therapists, because until it is normal and until it is not taboo and you're not brave, like, we haven't made the progress needed for people who, you know, could use the help. And I think that's everyone, for the record. I think absolutely every person walking this planet would be better off if they talked to a therapist occasionally. Not even all the time. I'm not saying once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever. Quarterly. Annually. I just feel like everybody could benefit from talking to somebody who is not, you know, in the situation at hand, even from a perspective standpoint. I'm done talking about all that stuff now. I told you I was going to tell you stuff about my channel. Nick and I are doing the podcast. We're filming the first episode this week. We're very excited about it. We're also going to start streaming once a week. We're excited about that too. So those are two big updates. We're going to start streaming and we're going to start podcasting. Let me know in the comment section below if there's a specific day that works well for you for streaming, because we obviously don't want to stream when nobody is around, because that would be silly. We were kind of leaning towards Wednesdays, and it would be like maybe 2 to 10 or noon to 8, something like that, but it might be a little shorter depending, and it would be me and him playing games, or maybe occasionally like me doing art or something, but just a casual thing so that we can have more interaction with you guys. And I think that would be also kind of a fun offshoot of like if we have the podcast together and then we're kind of streaming together, that would still keep like my videos sort of separate and not like I'm a control freak. So I, as much as I want him to like help and he wants to participate, I also don't want to be in a position where I'm saying like, I don't want you to do that. So I'd rather like have these things that are kind of ours, that are separate from the things that are mine and the things that are his. So let me know in the comment section below what day would be good for streaming, because I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. I'm going to open all this stuff from my P.O. box, which by the way, I don't know why I keep getting all this stuff from my P.O. box. It's a lot. It is honestly a lot. And this is a nose ring. Who's this from? Does it say? This is a nose ring. It's really cute. I'm wearing a nose ring, by the way. I've had all these comments, which are rude lately, about, this is from Robert. And it's really cute. It's like a little gold. It's like, I think it might be rose gold toned. All right. So I don't think that's picking up very well, but it's got like a little ball. It's very tiny. I wonder if it's 16 gauge. It kind of looks 18. I'll try it on later. Thank you, Robert. This is also an Amazon one, so who knows? Ah, that's so loud. I'm sorry. Oh, this came in a fancy. Whoa. Hello. Okay, this has no gift note. Perfect. So I have no idea who this is from, but it looks like a bunch of fun, like what would these be called? Like not cocktail rings, but like costume jewelry almost. It looks like some of them are for like your knuckles, as opposed to like. Those are fun. Those are fun. I love wearing stuff like this in unboxings. Or wait, I love thinking about wearing stuff like this in unboxings and then I never do. So this is fun. I can't wait to wear these. I love the arrow one. Like that's my favorite one. Okay, I might have gotten this stuck on my finger. That was an accident. I'm trying to like zip through these because I feel like, why am I incapable of making vlogs that are like less than an hour? That shouldn't be a problem, but it is a problem that I have. This looks like it's from Betty Ann. Oh, I think I know what this is. I think she made me like a hoodie, kind of like a spirit hood that looks like Mischief the Fell Kitten, and I think it's crocheted or knitted. I'm almost positive that's her, although I shouldn't make assumptions like that. All right, in the top is a note. Oh, it's on pretty paper that has daisies on it. It says, "Dear Panzer, thank you so much for what you do. I started to watch your videos after you were on King of the Nerds. Over the years, I've enjoyed the information about WoW and the other Blizzard games. But most of all, I've enjoyed your vlogs. I know by a long shot that people who watch your videos and follow you on Twitter don't know you, but at least for me, I can relate to you, for your love of games and all things geeky. You helped me through a dark time in my life just by being you." That's so nice. I didn't mean to. It was so fun being a part of the Derp Squad last year during the St. Jude Play Live event. I can't wait to do it again. But enough of all the sappy stuff. I crochet a lot and I do it while I watch stuff on the interwebs, so I decided to make you something. Here's a hooded scarf with hand warmers. I made it to look like the Fell Kitten pet. I hope you like it, and if you do, more stuff to come. Thanks for being you, Christy, aka Betty Ann. I remember you, Betty Ann, from Play Live. I'm sorry this is loud. Oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, so this is awesome. I have a hat on, which is kind of like in my ponytail, so I can't take it off right now. So I can't give you a real perfect idea of what, oh my god, it's so cute. And look, it has like hands. Oh my god, it's the cutest thing. Oh, it looks like Mischief. My sister has the Mischief that I had, so I can't compare it, but it does look just like Mischief. This is really cool. Thank you so much. This is so nice. I bet you could raffle these off for St. Jude this year. I bet people would pay good raffle money for them. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Christy. Christy, right? Yeah. I always, so sometimes people do that online where their online name is also a real name, but it's not their real name. And that just throws me for a real loop. Like I met a girl at BlizzCon this year and her stream name is Kath is Rad, which for some reason I have no problem remembering. She probably told me her real name 15 times. And in my mind, her name is Kath because that's her online name and it's a real name. So that was confusing to me. All right, this is, oh my gosh, this is all Amazon gift wrapped. Well, good. It'll say who it's from. Aw, these are so cute. Wow, that's heavy. Why is that heavy? All right, those are gift receipts. So this says, "A gift for you. Hi, Panzer. Hope you like it. We love your vlogs and your unboxings. For the Alliance, Christy and Jay, Kat, and Erad." I have read so many like comments and stuff lately from people who are like, "Oh, me and my wife watch you," and I think that's so cute. Me and Nick like, oh my gosh, wait a second. There's different notes on all of them, so let me open one. I think that's adorable because I like to do everything with Nick. I'm very clingy. Like I am just like, "Hi, can I sit in your office while you do things? I'm just gonna play on my phone," because I just like to be near him. So, okay, this is gonna be loud. Sorry, oh my god, I know exactly what this is. Okay, this is gonna be loud. Hold. Ah, it's so loud. Oh, it's so loud. Oh, it's the worst, I'm sorry. Okay. So I own this shirt in another color and I'm obsessed with it because it's super cute with leggings because it's really long. I have like the rosy pink one. Thank you so much. I was definitely going to buy that color like very soon because I bought a pair of leggings that have that color in it. So thank you so much for that because I'll definitely wear it. The next note says, "Hi Panzer, I finally watched Suicide Squad and I fell in love with Harley Quinn in the movie. Hope you like the gift. For the Alliance, Kat and Erad." You know, I think you guys love to do that, to send me things and say "For the Alliance," which is very trolly of you, but I appreciate it. Is this a Q-Fig? It's bigger than a pop. It's, show me. Oh my god. Okay, so little known fact, I actually also have a small Cube Fig collection, and I have the Harley Quinn that came with Loot Crate that one month, but this is the Suicide Squad one, and I wanted it. I had it on pre-order, and then something happened, like I lost my credit card, So like my pre-order got canceled because the credit card number wasn't the same from the pre-order, which was really upsetting to me. So I really, really wanted this. Thank you so much, because I know that Suicide Squad got terrible reviews, whatever. I don't care. I liked it. I thought it was a fun movie. Okay, next thing we got. All right, this says, Dear Panzer, Happy New Year. Hope all is well with you, Nico, and your critters. Just wanted to say thanks for being awesome for the Alliance. Katiana and Eradicator. Oh, you know what? I think I remember the name Eradicator. I feel like I struggled with that. I kept saying like a raid dictator or something, right? Was it a while ago, like before Christmas? I think it was. I hope so, because otherwise I'm like being a jerk. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to be thoughtful. Also, you guys should know that all these Amazon gift bags that people send me. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love this. This is a Fantastic Beast notebook with the Magical Congress of the United States logo on it. Oh, I love this. I have such an issue with notebooks. I wonder if I got to see the line. I got to see if there's a date line on it. Hold on. Show yourself. Okay. Got plastic in my mouth. Dang. Oh, no. No, just plain lines. Just plain lines. Oh, it's so clean and nice. And there's like the Illuminati symbol on the back. Oh, this is so nice. I love this. Oh my God, my journal problem is out of control. It's out of control. Thank you so much, Christy and Jay, for everything. I really appreciate it. It's so nice of you. Why is everybody so thoughtful and nice to me? I don't understand. I really genuinely do not understand. I always feel like I'm indebted to people after they send me stuff, and I don't know what to do, and I'm like, I hope that you're getting whatever you want out of me. Because it's so nice, and it's so sweet of you guys to like send stuff, and it's always like so thoughtful, and it makes me like kind of want to cry a little bit, so I'm going to move on now before I get emotional, but thank you so much for all the sweet stuff. Alrighty, I got the last one open, and it says, Dear Panzer, first off, I would like to say thank you. I love your videos and your positive attitude. You're my #1 source for Blizzard news, even though I don't play the games as often as I used to. I love to be kept up to speed on the new happenings, and it's good knowing that I can rely on you for that info. Those games have meant so much to me over the years, and to have someone like you in the community makes things so much better. The gifts in the package were meant to be a Christmas gift, but life happens, and I wasn't able to send them beforehand. I feel that. So merry belated Christmas. I have given these to some of my favorite YouTubers, and I feel like have made a difference in my life over the years. Collectively, these have taken me 10 years to complete. I hope you enjoy them and share them with your friends and family. I'll have a website at the end if you care to link it. And this is, do not read on video after this point. Okay. And this is sincerely from Esmer to Dragon. So let's see what is going on in here? Books. Oh my gosh, he must have written them. Is he an author? Okay, so this is awesome. He is an author, and he wrote a trilogy. I mean, maybe there's more, but he sent me a trilogy of books. You know, when he said, these took me 10 years to make, I couldn't imagine what it was. And it's books, and he signed all of them on the inside. This is awesome. This is awesome. Oh, it's the prologue of the first one. It says, long ago, close to a millennium from now, in the year of 3841, evil violently corrupted the universe, and there wasn't a single soul that could stop it. The impending darkness spread throughout the universe like wildfire in a dry forest, destroying all that came within contact of it. The evil began from the planet Diagaton and spread outward from there. The Diagatons themselves were bloodthirsty killing machines that to the humans on Earth, look like 8-foot Komodo dragons standing on his hind legs with long, extremely sharp claws and human hand complexions. They have rather long arms and legs that are quite fast. Their full length, including their tails, if not cut off, is nearly 12 to 15 feet long. In this age of the universe, there have been advances in technology for many things, but none in the weaponry and armor areas. Interesting. Guns are not common in the universe, and in some places, they've never even heard of them. But they do exist, although they are difficult to come by. Weapons have moved back to medieval times, whereas there are swords, spears, bows, arrows, and other such weapons. Metal armor is worn, and special shields are used for protection against these weapons. There is no need to advance weapons in this universe after the Treaty of the Stars. after the Treaty of the Stars in which the galaxy signed for universal peace. Also in this age, the universe has become a land where magic spells are used and mystical creatures live amongst everyone in their everyday life. Wizards and witches are almost everywhere, practicing the supernatural and perfecting potions. Creatures such as fairies, unicorns, goblins, dwarves, elves, and others are amongst us in the universe. Okay. So this sounds like a mixture between science fiction and fantasy, and let me tell you, I am in. Thank you so much for sending me these. Oh, I'm so excited. I really like reading, and I feel like I have not read enough lately. I read in 2014, I had like a goal to read like 1 book a week. I didn't do it, but I read like 30 books or something like that, or maybe it wasn't quite that, but 28, I don't remember. I read a lot of books though. Like I think it turned out to be about 1 every 2 weeks, so thank you for the books. That was so nice of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the other stuff as well. That was also really nice and I appreciate it. So yeah, this video was very sappy. I apologize for getting kind of political. I kind of meant to, but I didn't mean to. I hope nobody is offended because that was the absolute least of what I was attempting to convey in this video. And thank you guys all for just being so wonderful. I feel like I have an audience of people who are genuinely very kind and want to leave a really positive impact in the world around them. And I think people really undervalue how much little things make a huge difference. I'm a firm believer in the butterfly effect. I don't think that small deeds go unnoticed. So if no one has told you today, I notice and the world appreciates it. And I just am very lucky to have so many people in my community that are just good, regardless of, anything about their lives. I feel like I just have an audience of people who genuinely want the world to be a better place. So thank you guys for being yourselves. I am going to go. I love you all. You're in my hearts. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.